Everybody, and welcome to this two-day virtual science meeting on new models of spatial and social behaviour in a pandemic. My name is Jane Leeks and I manage the Newton Gateway to Mathematics. We are the impact initiative of the Isaac Newton Institute for Mathematical Sciences, and I'm sure as many of you know, the Institute is the UK's National Institute for Mathematical Sciences research programmes and attracts researchers from all over the world. So the Newton Gateway has a key role in the RAMP continuity network. Of course, RAMP was originally the Royal Society Rapid Assistance in Modelling the Pandemic Initiative, and now is being funded by UK RI as part of this new continuity network. So we're working with the network to deliver a series of meetings, workshops and virtual study groups that react to key priority areas in the UK's response to the current pandemic. And this project is guided by links with groups such as Juniper, the Joint Universities Pandemic and Epidemiological Research Programme, and the Isaac Newton Institute Programme on Infectious Disease Dynamics. So these activities aim to ensure relevance to current UK policy and engagement with the wider mathematical modelling and epidemiological communities. Now, I must just mention that this event is being delivered on Zoom webinar. And we have, as you'll see, the talks are sort of mostly 20-minute talks, but the keynotes are longer. So Glenn, who'll be kicking off with our keynote today, will reserve several minutes at the end of his slot for questions. And you can post questions in the Q&A button. So if you hover your mouse over the bottom of the screen, you'll see the little Q&A icon. So you can post your questions in there and then they will be addressed. Now, we may not have time with some of the shorter slots to address questions in detail after each of those talks, but as you'll see on the programme, we do have some Q&A slots at the end of each session. So tomorrow, following the Chief Statistician's keynote, we've set up 4 Zoom meetings, breakout groups, to discuss issues around data and epidemiological modelling in the context of 4 areas. And you can see the slide that I've just posted here tells you a bit about it. Now these are meant to feed into all the outputs we get from these, the next RAMP continuity virtual study group on large spaces, which will run on the 12th of July. So do make a note of that if it's of interest to you. We have another RAMP event which is happening in July, 28th to 30th of July. This is a sort of science meeting being run in conjunction with Juniper, and that's on generation time of COVID-19. But we really hope that as many of you as possible can stay for the session just before lunchtime tomorrow in the breakout groups, because your feedback is really, really important. And, you know, study groups must have interesting and effectively articulated and scoped challenges that involve and engage with end users, which is why we really hope that as many of you as possible can contribute to that. So, as I said, the outputs from that study group, from that session tomorrow, will contribute to the study group. And I think without further ado, I will pass on to Professor Mike Cates from the RAMP Continuity Network, who will say a few words about the work of RAMP and this event.
Thank you very much, Jane. So just very briefly to introduce RAMP for those of you who may not know about it. RAMP, Rapid Assistance in Modelling the Pandemic, was conceived in March 2020, feels like a long time ago, as a call for voluntary assistance with epidemic modelling to feed into the modellers who advise the government. It has had and still has a steering committee under the purview of the Royal Society, help with management and data from EPCC in Edinburgh, and its initial duration was April to July last year. It did a number of things, embedded volunteers in existing modelling groups within SPIM, the government modelling teams, or those advising SAGE, advising government, established a set of online forums, established a rapid review group, which has been quickly surveying and reviewing literature for SPIM, SAGE, and other parts of government as well. And we co-established with the Newton Institute its programme on infectious dynamics of pandemics last year, which still exists. RAMP also convened a number of task teams, some small and focused, some much larger, between 200 and 200 people in each team. These covered new epidemic modelling, environmental and aerosol transmission. Two particularly relevant today were on urban analytics and human dynamics in small spaces. And to some extent, today's workshop is an outgrowth of the work of those task teams. And the other task teams were within host modeling, comorbidities, and structured expert judgment. So what RAMP is now is a UKRI funded network to continue on with some of the activities that were initiated under RAMP, and also to broaden things to embrace participation by a wider community of modelers. So the Continuity Network grant pays for a new hire at the Royal Society who works on what is called policy landing, so connecting modelling work with the appropriate recipients in government. The Rapid Review Group continues. That's now led by Robin Thompson for it. But the mainstay of this continuity grant is to pay for meetings like this one. So meetings and networking events via the Newton Institute and the Newton Gateway. So we have funding for about 25 of these meetings, initially virtual as today, hopefully physical meetings later on, 1 to 4 days duration with a responsive choice of topics. So the plan of the topics for these meetings is continuously evolving, and we welcome inputs from all quarters as to what they should be. So in April, we had 2 meetings, one on evolutionary implications of vaccination, another on environmental and aerosol transmission. And today's meeting is the next in this series. And Jane has already mentioned the 2 further meetings in July, with more to follow after the summer. So I think that's all I should say about RAMP, and I hope you enjoy the workshop today and tomorrow.